It is definitely still way too early to be redrafting the 2022 NFL Draft. But today, that is exactly what we are gonna do. And I don't really say this lightly, but this might be the most controversial video I've ever made. I have some really hot takes. And in my preparation for this, there are a couple players that I didn't pick at all in the first round. So this is gonna be a fun one. I think about 30% of y'all are gonna enjoy, 70% of y'all are gonna hate me. But either way, I think it will be a lot of fun. But I'm not gonna waste much time getting into this. So I just wanna say one thing. Well, actually, two things. The first one is, if you want to see a 2023 redraft, a very much way too early redraft, let me know by leaving a like, and if we can get to, you know what, I'm gonna set the goal high. If we can get to 1,000 likes, I will do that. It'll let me know y'all want to see that, and it very much helps out the channel. I would appreciate it. Subscribe for more if you don't hate me by the end of this. Let me know down in the comments anything you would do differently, respectfully, of course. And last thing, I'm gonna do this based off of teams' current real-life rosters, just because that makes the most sense to me. And it's how these teams' rosters worked out anyways, so we are just gonna pretend that all these teams are getting to remake their picks today. But alright, that's it. Let's finally get into this, and we are already gonna start off hot with the first pick. I think if you've seen my channel before, or my main channel I should say, you know what I'm gonna do with this first pick. We're gonna go with Aiden Hutchinson, and I'm already gonna start this off with a hot take. Maybe it's not that hot if you watch football, but Trayvon Walker, good stats, right? But that's the thing, good stats. I'm not even gonna ask you to go watch film. I'm not even gonna ask you to go find film. I'm gonna ask you to go watch just every Trayvon Walker sack from last year. There were some good ones, but there were so many like just wide open, unblocked sacks that he got, which I guess there's value to that, but that's more of a scheme thing than anything. Like, his stats are good. And here's the thing, I think he will become a really effective pass rusher maybe this year, but he was just schemed so wide open so much. I didn't like the pick at the time, so maybe I'm biased, but like, I don't know. Aiden Hutchinson is who I thought it should have been, and low-key who I still think it should have been. All right, now that we got that one out of the way, that might be the most controversial one. Maybe. Well, we'll see. But at number 2, another maybe interesting one, but we're gonna go Sauce Gardner to the Lions. Probably the best player in this class. Maybe Kyle Hamilton, but Sauce Gardner's probably better. The only thing I don't like about this pick is they really did invest a lot in their corner group this year, but still, I don't think you're not gonna take Sauce because of that, so we are gonna take him here. Yeah, probably the best corner in the league. I think you're gonna take him at number 2 overall. I don't think that one will be too controversial. And then I think one of my very few sticking with the same player picks in this entire draft, we're just gonna go with Derek Stingley. I mean, injuries have been a little bit of an issue, but really good corner. Oh, and I should pull up teams' depth charts and explain my reasoning and show some of the, players that teams are losing. So the Texans don't lose too much from this draft. They lose Dameon Pierce, Kenyon Green. Of course, they would lose Derek Stingley if we didn't take him. Jalen Petrie. That sounds like a decent bit, but they're one of the teams that get off the easiest. Pause, you know what I mean, though? So we'll just keep Derek Stingley there. Now the Jets at number 4. We are going to take a player that they took in real life, but just not at the same spot. We're going to go with Garrett Wilson here at number 4. This receiving core without him would be awful. I mean, they have Mike Williams, but he would probably just get hurt, to be fair. And then they would have what? Malachi Corley? I like him, but like Alan Lazard, Jason Brownlee, that's no. So yeah, we'll take Garrett Wilson earlier than they took him, but it's kind of necessary so another team doesn't take him. But now the Giants at number 5, this is one I really struggled with. This is one of the teams, how do I say this in a respectful way? This team is so bad that we could almost go with any position and it would be fine. I'm actually not super sure about the pick I made in my lead up to this. I might switch it. It would kind of ruin the pre-draft thing I did, but I'm not super sure about it. You know what? We'll still do it. I'm gonna go with Chris Olave here. A bit of a weird one, but he is probably the second best receiver in this class. I think maybe the most productive. Garrett Wilson's maybe the best, but I don't think he's had the same production. I'm not actually sure, just because he's had horrible quarterback play. But yeah, back-to-back Ohio State receivers here. here. Look, the Giants still have a million needs. I mean, tackle's the big one. They lose Kayvon Thibodeau, which that sucks, but we'll get to that in a couple picks. Or no, this is where Kayvon Thibodeau got picked, right? Look, I'm kind of in the same boat with Kayvon Thibodeau as I am with Trayvon Walker. I actually think both of them will be good this year, but they've had a lot of, you know, like fake production kind of. Like you look at their stats and like, oh, they've been amazing, which, you know, stats are cool, but if you're gonna have a guy where you just kind of get him a lot of free rushes, are you really gonna take that in the first round, let alone the top 5? Like, I don't know. Again, I'm sure people are gonna hate me after this video. I don't know how much I care, but we'll go Chris Olave. That's final offer, all right? But now the Panthers, is this the first one where we're gonna go the same position? No, it's like the third one, but I think this is what would have been seen as the biggest reach at the time. We're gonna go with Bernard Raymond here. He's been probably the best tackle in this class. I mean, Ike Ekwonu, I think, should be a guard, honestly. He's been decent as a tackle. It's just Raymond's probably been better, especially this year in real life, so we'll take him. I don't think Panthers fans would complain about more offensive line necessarily. And now this is another interesting one. So I didn't bring this up at the beginning. I was going to, but I forgot to. But this is a horrible quarterback class, obviously. Everyone knew it was kind of bad at the time. I actually really liked Sam Howell. I think Sam Howell was my favorite. But another quarterback I liked, which aged pretty well, this is another controversial pick. I don't know how I feel about Brock Purdy currently because, you know, as a Seahawks fan, I have to hate him because he's the 49ers quarterback. A lot of people think he sucks. I think he's good, not amazing. He's the type of quarterback where they're accurate, but you can't really ask him to do anything too crazy. The more I think about this, the less I like it, honestly, because you can maybe just draft a higher upside quarterback, you know, next year in real life if Daniel Jones doesn't work out for them, but I think we're still gonna do it. It's gonna give me an F. And honestly, I don't know if there's another lineman worth taking here. Maybe Charles Cross, but you would be sliding him to right tackle. You could also go Tyler Smith, I guess. Zach Tom, maybe. I don't mind Zach Tom, but I feel like a lot of people don't even know who that is. I'm half talking myself out of Brock Purdy, but I'm gonna stick to it. It is an upgrade. Gave me an F. That's fine. I'm not super confident in that one the more I think about it, but that's what we're gonna do. It's at least an upgrade at receiver and quarterback, which have been two not super great positions for this team. So sounds good. But now a quicker, clear-cut one. Falcons, lets me scroll up. Falcons at number 8, we're gonna go Drake London. I mean, he's been really good. He's been much better than I thought he would be. I just thought he would need a good QB and wouldn't separate very well, but he's done, I mean, neither of those things have been true. He's been a pretty decent separator, good receiver, and he's had horrible quarterback play, so he's been really good. And it'll be interesting to see how he does this year with an actual good QB. I mean, Kirk Cousins isn't the best, but he's better than Desmond Ridder. Was Desmond Ridder this year too? Yeah, he was. What an interesting pick that was. But I lied earlier. I didn't realize I lied. There are a few picks we're going to keep the same. We're going to keep Charles Cross to the Seahawks. He hasn't been great, but to be fair, what lineman in the past 10 years for the Seahawks has been great? I rest my case. I think it's a team issue more than a player issue. I think Charles Cross is good, so we'll take him here. But now the Jets back on the clock at number 10. This is going to be another controversial one. I'm going to go with Trent McDuffie is here, but they have Michael Carter, who I like. God, the Fayetteville State logo is crazy. What the fuck? That's insane. I'm going to go with Deron Bland here. Kind of a weird one because, you know, there are a lot of good corners in this class, but he was pretty good for the Cowboys. Go into a similar enough situation here. Did that also give me an F? Probably. I got really goofy with my top 10 picks here. If you couldn't tell, these are some weird ones, but they lose Sauce Gardner here. You know, if you're picturing Sauce Gardner like, oh, they have great corners, they lose Sauce here, so they don't have good corners here. Well, they have DJ Reed, but their outside corner depth is like surprisingly bad. I kind of thought it was decent, but like Brandon Eccles, Quantez Stiggers is interesting, but I don't think you're gonna bank on him as a rookie. Is he considered a rookie? I guess he is because he's colored like orange here, but technically he's already played a pro season in the CFL, but I guess an NFL rookie, whatever. That's besides the point. We're going corner here because their corner depth I think isn't great. It could be, but yeah, instead of Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, we'll have Deron Bland and DJ Reed. Bit of a downgrade, but the teams that drafted well are the ones that get screwed here. And now this is an interesting pick. The Saints at number 11. I'm also doing this in the post-draft style, like I'm keeping the trade-ups that happened. I don't know why, that's just how I like to do it. It doesn't really make sense because, you know, these teams obviously traded up for certain players. Whatever, it's just how I like doing it, all right? Get mad at me all you want. It's just how I like to do it. But we'll go George Pickens here. That's going to be our pick. I think, here's the thing. I liked George Pickens a lot at Georgia. I don't think he played his final year due to like a foot injury or no, it was like an ACL. I don't know. I think he's a little overrated at this point. I mean, he's good, but there are people that'll say he's amazing. I think he will have a really good year this year, and I do think he's the best receiver available at this point. But the only thing I will say is number 11 might be a little bit rich for me. But here's my reasoning. If we want to talk about bad depth charts, the Saints will have Rashid Shaheed, A.T. Perry, and I guess Bub Means as their 3 starters at receiver. Enough said, we are going George Pickens. But now the Lions here at number 12, another maybe controversial one because we are going to replace one of their players with a division rival at the same position. I think I'm going to go with Christian Watson here. I mean, I liked Jameson Williams at the time, but I mean, he's had injuries, the suspension. Well, I guess the injury was from college, but still the suspension, he hasn't been playing much. I guess the player I'm replacing him with is another kind of injured guy, but I think a little bit better of a player. We're going to go with Christian Watson here. I'm making enemies early here. I guess we're not that early in the draft, but we will take Christian Watson to replace Jameson Williams, who honestly, I don't even know if I took in my draft. That's maybe not great, but there are a lot of decent receivers here, so it's whatever. And now here's one I might change, actually. I know I've said that for a lot of picks. Maybe I shouldn't because he probably should have gone already, but Kyle Hamilton, it's just, you know, you could make the argument, take him to the Lions, but I really don't like that receiving core if you don't take a receiver there. Same with the Saints. The Jets maybe could have been a good pick for Kyle Hamilton, but I'd rather take an outside corner than like a versatile safety. Seahawks definitely needed tackle. We had no reason to change Drake London. The Giants maybe, but I feel like you have bigger core issues than safety on that team. Panthers definitely needed to go left tackle, so it's weird to have Kyle Hamilton fall. Is there a way to scroll? Because the way I'm doing this hurts my eyes going like this. I don't know, but like Kyle Hamilton is a better player than going at 13. It's just these teams, the landing spots don't really make sense to me. But the reason I'm not going to change my mind. I'm still going to take him to the Eagles at 13. The only thing is, when I was taking him, I forgot they had drafted Cooper DeJean. So, I mean, that's probably fine. He can play any position, really, in the secondary. God, I forgot they got Isaiah Rodgers back. That secondary is insane. Maybe I don't need to take Kyle Hamilton, but they do lose Reed Blankenship here. That's the other thing. I didn't realize how insane the secondary is. Darius Slay, which older, but I know he had a down year last year, but I feel like last year doesn't count. They, you know, Sean Desai from the Seahawks. I feel like anytime you're taking a former Seahawks coach, if the Seahawks are going to let them go, especially on the defensive side of the ball, don't get them. But like Darius Slay, Isaiah Rodgers, Reed Blankenship, CJ Gardner-Johnson, Avonte Maddox, Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, Sidney Brown, Keely Ringo, Eli Ricks. I even like Tyler Hall. Oh my God, what a secondary. So maybe controversial to go Kyle Hamilton, but I didn't want him to slip any further. I guess we could have taken him to the Ravens at 14. But speaking of the Ravens at 14, we are going to go with Trent McDuffie here. Something interesting. Did that give me an F? What did that say? No, it said a B. I'm blind. But something interesting. I'm going to bring up depth chart for every pick here just to show like what my thinking is. Are they going to play Marlon Humphrey as their slot corner this year? Then Brandon Steven and Nate Wiggins as the outside guys? I don't know how much I love that, honestly. If that's what they're going to do, I'm going to veto that. And yeah, no, I don't want to do that. So yeah, we're going to take Trent McDuffie to be their slot corner. We'll get to another one in a second because the Chiefs depth chart is very similar. I don't know how accurate it is, but the Texans here at number 15, another guy that maybe should have been taken earlier, but just with how desperate some of the team's needs were earlier on, we kind of, you know, had to take those positions. But I'm going to go with, where is he? Oh yeah, he's listed at tackle. Tyler Smith. They had him ranked at 46. Interesting, but we're obviously going to take him to play guard. I don't think he would be a very good tackle. I mean, maybe. So obviously we're going to play him at guard, but they lose Kenyon Green, and I don't love their O-line to begin with. Like Juice Scruggs is whatever. Tunsil, Mason, and Howard are all pretty good, but oh, that's confusing. I forgot they have Kendrick Green too. Why? But yeah, definitely an upgrade there. I don't feel like anyone's going to argue that one, maybe. But now this is an interesting one. I haven't really like thought about how bad the Commanders depth chart is, but this is rough, especially if they lose the players from this class. I was half tempted to go receiver here, which maybe, but at least they have someone like Terry McLaurin there to hopefully carry the group. But like, I don't love their O-line, their receiving core, especially if they lose Dotson, is not great. Their tight end group, like there are guys that could be good in the near future, but nobody that's like very proven other than Zach Ertz, but I don't think he should be their starter. He's beyond washed, sorry. They don't honestly lose too much from this draft, and I was kind of thinking about going with corner, but they have guys like Emmanuel Forbes, who had a rough rookie year, but like he was going against like AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, like just he was going through it. The only thing is he won't be a good scheme fit now, but this pass rush group is, I don't love it. Dorrance Armstrong, Cleveland Ferrell, Dante Fowler, like you got the Cowboys leftovers in Cleveland Ferrell. I'm gonna go with George Karlaftis to the Commanders here. He's been good for the Chiefs for sure, but there's like a million different directions you could go there, and I would understand like almost anything there. Not a great roster. But the Chargers here at number 17, this is a team that has a very horrible offensive line if they lose the players from this draft. Well, not horrible, but horrible guards. I actually kind of like Jordan McFadden though, but Zion Johnson and Jamari Sawyer were both in this class. I still think Jamari Sawyer should be a tackle. I don't think he's a very good guard, but he is a really good tackle. So we are gonna go with Tyler Linderbaum here. I mean, you can play him at guard, you can play him at center, you can move Bradley Bozeman to guard if you want. Yeah, honestly, if you went Jordan McFadden, Tyler Linderbaum, and then Bradley Bozeman, that would be a decent trio, I think. Whoa, no way. They have Patrick Willis on their O-line? That's crazy. They're gonna be great this year. Who is this? Willis Patrick? He's from TCU. I don't know who this is, though. Probably should know a TCU O-lineman, but I genuinely don't know who this is. Should be playing linebacker with a name like that, bud. But yeah, we're gonna go with Tyler Linderbaum. I thought he was one of my favorite players in this class. I'm glad he's been as good as I thought he would be for the Ravens. I would have even been comfortable with taking him pretty close to the top 10. And where did he fall to? Like 20 something? I don't know. Yeah, we're taking him to the Chargers here. I definitely don't think there's anything wrong with taking O-line. In fact, they should maybe even think about it in the second round, or at least later in the draft somewhere. But number 18, this is kind of a fun one. I'm gonna go with Trey McBride to the Titans. Very underrated tight end. Here's what I'm gonna say. I asked a question of the day on my main channel a few days ago that was, you know, who's gonna be a big breakout player this year in real life. I couldn't really think of like one specific one. I just went to a depth chart. I think I went to the Buccaneers and named like 3 or 4 players that I thought could have their first like big year this year. But Trey McBride might be my answer. I mean, he was already good this year in real life, but I think he's gonna be really good, assuming there are no injuries. Big knock on wood there, but yeah, Trey McBride, maybe this is a questionable pick to some people, but I don't really think so. I mean, they lose Chigo Okonkwo here. He was in this draft, so he's gonna be my pick here. And then the Saints at number 19, another maybe controversial one. I hate how this scrolls. I wish I could, whatever. Oh yeah, he's listed as an interior O-lineman. Okay, we're scrolling down the board here. I am gonna go with Zach Tom. Now, they have good tackles in real life on paper. Let me pull it up. Talise Fuaga and Ryan Ramczyk, but you know, Ryan Ramczyk probably gonna retire soon. I mean, just bad injury. I think I even saw an interview, like, not like saw an interview, but read something that said, it was Dennis Allen, and he said something like the injury recovery isn't going super well. I mean, I don't think he necessarily said that, but no, it was something like that. And if a coach is even being like slightly pessimistic about an injury, that's probably not a good sign. And then what? You have the guy you actually took here in Trevor Penning. That's probably not great. He's been horrible. So yeah, we're gonna go with Zach Tom, the best right tackle from this class. There is also Luke Gadecki, but I think Zach Tom's a little better. Again, don't think there will be many complaints about that one. I mean, this is pretty much just the 2 positions they picked here. I mean, the first one's a little worse, and then this one's better. So I would say it's about fair for the Saints here. They don't lose too much. But now the Steelers here, I mean, pretty much anything is an upgrade over, you know, Kenny Pickett, which I gotta bring this up anytime I mention Kenny Pickett. I think he's very overhated. I think he was done absolutely dirty. His stats weren't good, but I really don't like looking at stats. Just, I don't want to get into that whole conversation. Why am I looking at QB? We're not taking a QB here. We are gonna go with maybe an interesting pick, but they do lose George Pickens here. And this receiving core, pulling up the depth chart again, is absolutely horrific if they lose George Pickens. I mean, it'll be Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson, and Roman Wilson. I'll pass. I mean, Calvin Austin, there's potential. Roman Wilson, I think, will be good, but like, that's not an NFL caliber starting 3. So we are gonna go with, if I can find him, Khalil Shakir, a guy I wasn't super high on. I knew a lot of people liked him, and some people said he should be like a 2nd round pick. I didn't love that, but honestly, he's been a lot better than I expected for the Bills. He was a steal for them, and now I've come full circle, clearly taking him in the 1st round here. We could also go with someone like, I don't know, there are a lot of decent receivers, Jamison Williams, Jahan Dotson. I think Traylon Burks, when healthy, isn't bad. It's just, you know, when healthy is the key word. Romeo Dobbs, that would be decent, which we'll get to him in a minute. Actually pretty soon. But yeah, Khalil Shakir, they are desperate for a receiver, losing George Pickens, so makes sense to me. Just take, in my opinion, the best receiver still here. But now the Chiefs at 21. This is a really fun one. I'm surprised they had him ranked all the way up at 56, but we're gonna go with Tariq Woolen here. This was an insane corner class. There are still like decent guys left. Kyler Gordon, Roger McCreary, Cam Taylor-Britt, Martin Emerson, Joshua Williams. I mean, you know, Chiefs player there. Like, this was a very good corner class. Jalen Watson, and maybe Tariq Woolen shouldn't fall this far. I know there are people that are like lower on him. Maybe I'm biased as a Seahawks fan. People always bring up that he was bad against the run. He had a shoulder injury. Like, of course he's gonna not be able to tackle. He was hurt. Like, what are we doing? I thought he was better this last year if you know, disregard the run defense stuff. I thought he was better in coverage this year than the year before, than his rookie year. I feel like he's trending up, and fully healthy, he could be really good this year. Oh yeah, and I brought up the Chiefs depth chart earlier. It's really weird. Know if this is what they're gonna do, but they're gonna have Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson on the bench, and then start McDuffie and Nazeed Johnson as their outside corners. Is this actually what they're gonna do? Shamari Connor is their nickel corner. I hope that's not what they do. Just start McDuffie, Williams, and Watson. Don't overthink it. I mean, Johnson's decent. Connor was pretty good, but like, don't do this. I don't know. So we're gonna take Woolen to replace Williams and Watson. Wow, they lose all their corners here. They lose McDuffie, Johnson, Williams, Watson. So yeah, this was an even better pick than I expected. And they lose Brian Cook. They lose almost their whole secondary from this draft. So yeah, that was necessary. But at number 22, the Packers, this is where they went with, was this Quay Walker? Ugh, that's rough. I forgot about that. I think that's who this was, but we're gonna go with receiver. We're gonna go with Romeo Doubs. They would lose him and Christian Watson, so we'll at least keep one of them here. Been a good receiver, maybe weird for a first round pick, but like, I don't really think so. He's been a good receiver. So again, could maybe go Jamison Williams too. Maybe switch it to that. I mean, it's close either way. I would be fine with him, Dotson, really either of those three would be fine to plug in here. But speaking of another receiver, at number 23, we are gonna go with Jahan Dotson here to the Bills. Not the best year in real life, but had a good rookie year, and we are going to hope that we can get rookie Jahan Dotson and keep building on that here. Again, could go Jamison Williams, but they just drafted Keon Coleman. I feel like they're going to do something weird with Curtis Samuel and make him a deep threat. I feel like they're going to try that. I don't know why I have that feeling, but I don't know. I'm probably wrong. I think he could be decent at it, though. But yeah, they lose Khalil Shakir, so we'll replace him with Jahan Dotson. Seems like a plan. Still not a great receiving core, losing Stephon Diggs, but it's what we got to do. And now at 24, another reach down the board. Would have been a horrible pick at the time, probably, or seen as one, but oh yeah, he's like in the 300s. We're going way down here. They had Jaquan McMillan listed. That's cool. But we are going to go with Christian Benford here to the Cowboys. Has been good for the Bills, was good in real life this year. Again, maybe a player where the comments are going to be who for him, but like, he's been good for the Bills. He was this year, and they lose, why can't I think of his name? Deron Bland. That's who they lose. So we'll replace him there. And at 25, I think this is where the Ravens took Tyler Linderbaum, so we are going to replace him with, not a one-to-one replacement, but all right, where is he listed? Luke Gadecki. I didn't love the Roger Rosengarten pick. I don't like Roger Rosengarten that much. I mean, he's fine, but Gadecki can be the right tackle or guard if you want, but I like him a lot more at tackle, so actually, no, I take that back. And then you can figure something out with the rest of your line. If they lose Tyler Linderbaum, like, this would be a bad O-line. I actually like Andrew Voorhees a lot, though, so I maybe take that back a little bit, but I don't know. It could start getting pretty thin pretty quick. I forgot they have maybe I almost take that pick back because I forgot they have pretty good depth. They have Josh Jones. I like him. Patrick McCarry. So this one's up in the air, but I still think it is an upgrade, so I'm fine with it. We already took a DB, so might as well take a good O-lineman. Matt Ariza was listed at 100. Good Lord. But at number 26, this is going to be another controversial one. We definitely could go Kayvon Thibodeau, Trayvon Walker. I kind of think Jermaine Johnson's been better in limited opportunities. So I mean, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We'll make the same pick here that they made in real life. We'll go Jermaine Johnson. I think you're seeing what's gonna happen here by the end of this. Ooh, I forgot I made a really controversial, maybe biased pick later, but here's another pick that we won't change. I was trying to scroll up even though I'm already at the top. We're gonna go Devin Lloyd. Keep Devin Lloyd. This was a little weird to me at the time because they had just signed Foyesade Aluakin at the time to a lot of money and then spent a first round pick also also on a linebacker. I think they had a really big need at the time. I can't remember what it was, though. I think there was a reason I hated this pick, but now it's fine to do again, so we'll do it here. And now the Packers finally going with, you know, we still have a lot of real-life top 10 picks here still available, but one is going to come off the board here. We are going to go with Ike Ekwonu. Like I said, maybe should be a guard and then play. Here's what I would do with their O-line if this were to happen, which obviously it wouldn't because, I mean, I don't even have to explain, but Jordan Morgan at left tackle. They lose Rasheed Walker and Zach Tom, which sucks, but Jordan Morgan left tackle, and then, I mean, I guess you could put Ike Ekwonu at right tackle if you wanted to, but I would say probably Ekwonu at left guard. I think he'd be a really good guard again, and then Elgton Jenkins at either right guard or right tackle. I mean, he can play whatever position, and I think that would be a pretty good O-line. I mean, that wouldn't be too much of a downgrade from what they have in real life. It would be a slight downgrade, but this is about damage control for most teams more than additions, which I think is kind of fun. It's interesting because this team loses a lot. I mean, Watson, Dobbs, Walker, Tom, Wyatt, Walker again. Was Keyshawn Nixon in this draft? Oh no, he was 2019. Never mind. But yeah, we'll try to salvage their O-line and receiving core. One of the unlucky teams here a little bit, but maybe not. I mean, like I said, Ekwonu could be a really good guard, I think. But the Patriots at number 29 here, going down the board again here, very different from the last pick we made, but the same position. We are going to go with Braxton Jones to the Patriots. This O-line sucks. I didn't realize how bad it is, but outside of like two good players, it is not good. I mean, you have Mike Nwenu and the ghost of David Andrews, and that's about it. Chukwuma Okorafor, not great. I didn't like the Caden Wallace pick. Cole Strange is whatever. I thought that was a little bit of a reach. I didn't hate it that much, but it wasn't, I didn't think it was a great pick in the first round. That's definitely proved out well. City So, whatever. Like, you have Michael Jordan, not exactly the Michael Jordan of offensive line play. So I guess Braxton Jones, left tackle, Chukwuma Okorafor, right tackle, Mike Nwenu, right guard, and that would be a pretty good O-line, I think. Who do they even lose, though? Do they lose any starters? What did they do in this draft? They lose Marcus Jones? Who did they take at 29? Oh, this is where they took Cole Strange. Oh yeah, okay, so you just upgrade Cole Strange pretty much. I mean, sure. But coming down to the end here, this has been a lot of fun. Definitely not a controversial redraft. This is gonna be maybe my most controversial pick of the entire video. I'm still not confident in this one, and I might change it. But you know what? I want interaction bait. I want y'all to be mad in the comments to get them views up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take Boye Mafe over Kayvon Thibodeau and Trayvon Walker. Yep, that's what I'm doing. I don't think he's had the same sack production, but honestly, this year in real life, it was close. Plus, he's just won a lot more one-on-one reps rather than like free rushes than these top two. Now, hold on. Here's the thing. I'm doing this based off of production, I should say that, but I still probably would take Kayvon Thibodeau or Trayvon Walker over Boye Mafe just because of potential, like physical ability. But I'm just doing this based off of what these players have shown in real life. That's why I say this is too early, because a lot of these players for sure will work out, like Thibodeau and Walker, but just based off of what they've shown so far, honestly, give me Boye Mafe. But if we're taking them based off of what I think they could be, definitely give me Walker or Thibodeau here. I'll say that. I'll atone for my sins a little bit, all right? That's what I'll say to please the mob a little bit, at least. Speaking of pleasing the mob, I'll take a player I'm not as high on just out of fear for my life. I'll go with Cam Taylor-Britt here. I don't love Cam Taylor-Britt. I think there are better options, but we'll just keep the Bengals player. Another depth chart that is rough if they lose Cam Taylor-Britt. It'll be Josh Newton and DJ Turner. I don't know about starting a rookie corner and almost rookie corner. I mean, DJ Turner's fine. He's just fast, though. Like, that's about it. I think he will be good, but, like, we will keep Cam Taylor-Britt here. But now coming down to the final pick here. This has been a hell of a ride here. This has been definitely... I don't feel super good about what I've done here today, but have I had fun? Yes. Is that what matters? It's arguable, but I've had fun. So last pick of the redraft, I guess we're between the two Georgia defensive tackles. Honestly, either one of these guys would be fine. I think Devontae Wyatt's been the slightly better player so far, but Jordan Davis is the bigger athletic. Could also go Travis Jones, but yeah, we're gonna go D-line here. This is a team that doesn't lose much. I mean, who do they lose? They lose Ed Ingram. We could go O-line. Yeah, that O-line isn't great. That's a pretty bad O-line. Maybe I should go with an O-lineman. Let's see. As we're coming down to the end of this, let me list off the best players available. So we didn't take any running backs, which I maybe should have, but a lot of these teams have a lot bigger issues than running back. But there's Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, Isaiah Pacheco, Tyler Algier, Kyron Williams. Obviously the receivers. There's Jake Ferguson, Isaiah Likely, Thayer Munford, I guess, Abe Lucas, Kayvon Kayvon Thibodeau and Trayvon Walker, Marquise Bell, Leo Chenal, Terrell Bernard. Of course, the D linemen. There are pretty much a lot of corners left. Jack Jones, Joshua Williams, Martin Emerson, Reed Blankenship, wherever he is down here. So there are still definitely some decent players that slipped into the second round that maybe shouldn't have, but that's just how this played out. That's my defense. But okay, last pick, we are gonna go with Mo Diallo out of Arizona State. I don't know who that is. No, we'll go with Jordan Davis. I mean, another guy that I'm sure will be controversial that he's fallen this far, but I mean, like, he's been whatever for the Eagles. He's been surrounded by a lot of great players too. The Vikings were a tough one because they don't lose a lot, and they honestly have a pretty well filled out roster. The only other thing is maybe an O lineman, but that's about it. But this was a ton of fun. Again, I'm sure there weren't any controversial decisions made here, but this is genuinely what I think I would do for most of these teams. Maybe not exactly, but pretty close. The only ones I don't feel great about are the Giants 2 picks. The Olave one I think is fine, but maybe a lineman here, but I don't know which one you would go with. I don't know if you would go with Tyler Smith this early. I mean, maybe. And then I don't feel great about Kyle Hamilton slipping this far, but honestly, like I said, looking at a lot of these teams, they have bigger issues. So overall, I think we did all right. I feel like I explained my reasoning pretty well, and more importantly, I love doing these redrafts, so I think this was a lot of fun. But if you enjoyed, again, be sure to leave a like, and 1,000 likes will let me know y'all want to see a 2023 redraft, which is going to be interesting. Again, way too early, but fun. Also, let me know if you want to see a different year redraft. I mean, I've done a lot of them, so if you've enjoyed this, go and check out, what was the most recent one I did? Whatever, I'll link it, I'll put it on the end card of this video. Go and watch that if you want to, but thank you all so much for watching, and with that, I will see y'all again in the next video. Goodbye.